Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies, gentlemen, earthlings everywhere on planet Earth. Harry has lost his case to have taxpayer-funded security. He's lost against the Home Office. That's the news this morning. Some of the news. I think it was about a year ago that I did a video where he had lost another part of it. Or I think the way I phrased it was he'd won some parts but not the parts he wanted to win. And at that stage a lot of you guys in the comments asked, did I think he would win the ultimate security case? And I said I think very, very unlikely. Very unlikely. In my ignorant and non-legal opinion, I'm not a lawyer. Don't ever take don't take legal advice off anybody on the internet, actually. You know, it can only be for basic guidance. You need legal advice, get an actual lawyer. Speaking of lawyers, I think Harry has been led horribly up the garden path through his own fault. No, I'm not defending him. But his lawyers, I think, have led him a merry and expensive dance. I suspect this will cost him quite a lot. The Home Office, of course, it's publicly funded. They will be, I would imagine, asking for costs. It was a ludicrous idea from the beginning. It's a bit like you've left a company that you work for and the company asks you to hand back the keys to the executive toilet and the company car. And you say, no, I need the company car, I'm keeping that. And the company say, well, it's not your car. You only had the car while you worked for the company. You've resigned, you've left, you've walked away, and you need to give the keys back now. It's like that. Having said that, I understand his argument that he was born a prince and apparently that wasn't his fault, which is true, it's an accident of birth. Having said that, he does still have security. When he comes to the United Kingdom, the Home Office do arrange on, which was always the case, that was what was put forward by Ravek, that he would get security on a case-by-case basis. And as the court has found, that is not an unlawful and it's not an unreasonable thing for Ravek to have said. Why would they give him full IPP status abroad? Other governments potentially having to fund his security. He made the decision. This was what was always so ludicrous about titles of books of Omid Scobie, etc., and ludicrous movies and the talk of the freedom flight on Netflix and finding freedom and escaping the palaces. The ludicrous idea that he couldn't keep Meghan safe all the time he was inside of the royal family, inside castles and palaces which are heavily guarded, where he did and she did automatically, and their children would have done had they remained in the royal family. They would have remained under a level of protection. If Harry is now going to say that his family have been put at risk by the Home Office, that's nonsense. His family, if they have been put at any risk, have been put at risk by his petulant tantrum and decision to flounce out, storm out, give big interviews, write books. This is all of his own making. Well, he has lost the case, and I would imagine that will be an end to the matter. Who knows? Perhaps he'll dig his heels in even further to try slaying further dragons. I mean, as dragons go, His Majesty, Harry's father's government, who when he started this were Harry's grandmother's government. This is not just going to be a footnote in history. This one will go down, along with all the other stuff. This is serious downgrading. And I would also imagine that it will have ramifications in Hollywood. All this, that their desire to have connections with the royal family. I would imagine this will be translated by those sort of companies that think they're bankable, the few that still think that are going to think these guys are ever less the royal family, ever less, you know, and it's also public, and it was also unnecessary. If he hadn't brought the subject up and the lawsuit, and he just kept it to himself, none of us would even know. We would all be guessing, which is rather the point of the never complain, never explain, that the family, that's sort of been their ethos, and it's very, very good advice. I do also see the case in America with the Heritage Foundation that want to find out what he put on his visa application in America. Just wanted to say a little word about this, because there are dramatic admissions of drug use in Spare. And actually, in a manner of speaking, I applaud Harry for his honesty. Again, stupid as it was, because he's walked into this problem, this trap. And now I do understand certain lawyers I'm not sure if they're for the Biden administration or, because America is so complicated that the way your courts are set up are so intricate. But I do understand the argument that they could say that what he's written in a book isn't necessarily evidence. Yeah, I can see that. But then, of course, that's makes everybody who bought the book thinking they were reading 100% of the truth, which I never did. I've got a copy of the book, and I never felt that it was 100% accurate of anything. There are quite graphic descriptions in there. I don't know where that's going to go or how that's going to go, but obviously this court decision it starts to set a sort of a trend, as we've been talking about, downward trajectory continues. I'd also like to say it's shocking and very sad, tragic to hear of the death of Lady Gabriella's husband. I think he was 45, 46. Thomas Kingston. Lady Gabriella, of course, is Prince and Princess Michael's daughter. And my heart goes out to the guy's family, his parents, his siblings, and Lady Gabriella, and the Kent family, and all of them. How shocking, how awful. And I understand there's going to be an inquest, coroner's inquest, into what's happened. Police have said there was no one else involved, there's nothing suspicious involved. Having read a little bit about the guy, what an awesome character he was, an ex-hostage negotiator, must have been an extremely diplomatic guy, very clever guy. I can't imagine it would be anything, like he did anything to himself. It's, I don't know, sometimes people have heart failure at a very young age, and it is heartbreaking. I was quite shocked to see the comments on the Daily Mail. The top one was, "Who cares?" Well, I do, for one. It's a fellow human being who has just lost their life. I sometimes wonder if social media is reducing society to some sort of basic animal level. Not you guys. In fact, YouTube really is the creme de la creme. If it could even be classed as social media, I'm not sure it can. It's more of a community. It's more of a... there's so much creativity. There are so many YouTubers creating different content. People like Dude Perfect or Mr. Nightmare, Mr. Ballon, Mr. Beast is a big favourite of my kids. So it's a very creative community, including you guys in the comments. You're very creative, thought-provoking people. It's not, so I don't really class it as social media. If only all the other platforms could be more like YouTube, with humanity and kindness and looking into things with a little bit more depth rather than just looking at subjects as one-dimensional. And then to see comments like that on the Daily Mail, and equally, in the poorest of taste, some people suggesting that because the poor guy has just passed away, that Harry and Meghan need to return. I don't really see what that's got to do with anything. I'm not aware if Lady Gabriella is a working member of the royal family or does any representations. Perhaps she does. Perhaps he did. I don't think so. They weren't particularly prominent, but I see the Independent newspaper kind of leading with that suggestion. Well, what the hell are they talking about? And to use the tragedy of this young man's death as an opportunity to promote the idea that pair of idiots could come back and represent the monarchy in any way, shape or form. That's my opinion. I think they're a pair of idiots. Pretty shallow as well. Weren't certain websites set up way before they actually left the royal family? Weren't deals being done with? Wasn't Oprah invited to the wedding? Wasn't it something like Meghan had said, oh, I can't talk to you now, this isn't the right time? So were there preparatory plans? Was it intentional for them to leave the royal family in order to cash in on titles? On Meghan's part, I can well believe it. On Harry's, I'm not so sure, because I'm not sure the guy cottons on to what's going on very quickly. This court case, hopefully, will sort of knock some sense into him. There is, in my mind, there is just absolutely no way back for the guy into the royal family. No way. He has blown it. What we're all looking at is 4 long years of tantrums. 4 long years of false allegations. There were a lot of lies in that Oprah interview. About 17 of them, weren't there? People like Piers Morgan and Sharon Osbourne have lost their jobs. Meghan actually called up the ITV woman, whatever she's called, and said she wanted Piers Morgan's head on a plate. No. The last thing the royal family needs at this moment in time. I know people are stressed because of the Princess of Wales, who will be back. I'm certain she will be back for Easter. That's what they always said. There's no mystery there. They have actually been very open about the fact that, can you imagine if they hadn't even said anything and everybody's just like, where is she? The King, it couldn't have been more transparent. They are all getting along with the job. They are doing just fine. They don't need Harry and Meghan. They need Harry and Meghan like they need a hole in the head. Can you imagine when members of the royal family are grieving, are recovering from surgery, are undergoing serious treatment for cancer? What you do not need is a couple of drama queens flouncing about and kicking off all over the place. I would imagine that it is the absolute last thing that the royal family want back in their circle. So anyway, I thought I'd share these thoughts and opinions. I would love to hear what you guys have to say. I'm sure a lot of you are delighted, because the last 4 years have just seemed like a series of injustices, don't they? As if they could just do what they like with no consequences. But it is a slow burn and it is a slow build, and then you will see it speed up and speed up and speed up and speed up, and God alone knows where the story goes from here. But I would imagine British taxpayers sighing a great sigh of relief today. Thank you very much for listening. As always, look forward to hearing your thoughts and opinions on the subject in the comments below.